Oh man, guys. I don't know. I know it's been a couple days since our game against the Raiders, but it still hurts this season, man. And I don't know. Does it feel worse than last season? What's going on, you guys? It's Brandon here with Philly the podcast. And, I just needed to vent a little bit, talk about what's been going on this season and maybe something to look forward to next year or just something to watch out for this year. But before I get started into that, Joe has made a new logo on some new merch. It's clean, it's sleek, and it's something I feel like everybody should go ahead and get. Mine's on its way, so you'll be seeing me rocking that new merch in some upcoming videos when it arrives from FedEx or whatever, UPS. But needless to say, go check out the new merch. It is clean and sleek, and I recommend everyone getting it to rep Philly the podcast. But yeah, this season, man, this season, at least last season, we had a chance every week. It was depressing. We stunk, but each week we had a chance to even win the division. This year, we just flat out stink. It is what it is. You got to be real about the situation. And it's unfortunate, right? Because we do play some games tough. Some games, the score looks better than what it actually was. For instance, against the Buccaneers, they kind of had their way in the whole game. And toward the end, it looked like, oh, man, we could catch up. But in reality, they took the gas off the pedal. And then this past week, Derek Carr looked like he was the upcoming next person, like the next, I don't know, better than Peyton, better than Brady. This dude was oh my God, he was chopping us up. He was throwing the ball with ease. It was practice out there. And I just feel like that's our players. I feel like we have better players than what's being shown. I feel like we should be able to win some of these games or at least be more competitive. So, if we lose, we lose. Every team is a team that's always going to lose every week. And if we end up losing, that's one thing. But to lose in the fashion that we've been losing is embarrassing. And everyone knows it. Everyone can see it. Yes, our linebackers, they're a liability. They stink. They're not the best. But there's ways to scheme different things. And I feel like this is what happens when we go ahead and we hire not only a rookie head coach, a rookie offensive coordinator, but then a rookie defensive coordinator. We didn't really keep many veteran coaches. We didn't hire veteran coaches. We hired a very young coaching staff. And this was to be expected, right? Everyone has their growing pains. Everyone's going to learn on the fly. And unfortunately, when it comes to this game of football, learning on the fly kind of stinks for the fans in a sense, because we look forward to football every year. As soon as the Super Bowl's over, we're sitting there. We're looking at the offseason. We're getting ready for the draft. We're getting ready for free agency. We're getting ready for training camp just so the season can start. And there's always going to be bad teams. But the Eagles, historically, we just haven't been consistently a bad team. And now we're getting back-to-back seasons. Unless, I'm over here just talking. Maybe they turn it around. That's the optimism in me. But chances are we're not turning it around this season, but it's unfortunate. I feel like we do have the players, especially on offense. I feel like our offensive line isn't terrible. There are times when Jalen Hurts does look like he needs to run out of the pocket, but there are times I feel like maybe he can step up into the pocket rather than trying to take off to the right. Because, if you watch film, you don't need to be a scout genius. You don't need to be coach. You don't need to be Bill Belichick to see that Jalen Hurts likes to run to the right. He does it pretty much all the time. And unfortunately for guys like Devontae Smith, who people get mad that he has a couple drops, his drops, they're not just easy catches. The guy has to reach behind him while running full speed, or it's super low, or he's literally about to get knocked out by a safety or a linebacker or something, when the throws do come over the middle, because they're either a tad bit late or maybe just throws that maybe he shouldn't do to protect his wide receiver. And then the catches he does make, they've been, I mean, yes, there has been some good throws that it was been normal, like he's open, yada, yada, yada. But then there's also like the ones on the sideline where he has to reach and use his whole body frame and have to do these like miraculous catches. And I feel like that has become the norm. And the only time we have big plays is when we have these miraculous catch type plays. And it shouldn't be that way. And that falls back to Nick Sirianni. I mean, I know we were getting at Doug Peterson last year, but hiring someone just new like this without any resume, I mean, we could play the what if game all day. We could play, what if we promoted Deuce Staley? What if we waited for Eric Bieniemy? What if? But growing pains, guys, growing pains. Now, leave in the comments, what are some things, I mean, yes, we stink, the season sucks, but what are some things that you guys are looking forward to toward this like second half of the season? We're 7 weeks in. I mean, we still have a couple more weeks before we're at the halfway point. We still have to get to the trade deadline. Everyone's saying we're going to be sellers, so there's a high chance we're not going to get anyone to help our season. But what are you guys looking forward to? Are you guys trying to see, all right, does Jalen Hurts step up this season? Does he, and by this season, I mean the rest of the season, does he look like he's improving? Does it look like he's starting to get a grasp of the offense? Because at the end of the day, this is still a young guy who was thrown into, I mean, he went from Alabama to Oklahoma to then he was drafted to the Eagles under Doug Peterson, and then he's learning a new system. So it's just like bang, bang, bang. He's learning all these new systems, and he's getting used to the NFL speed. Teams are kind of reading him in a sense. I mean, but are we looking forward to seeing if he can improve, or are we already at that point where, all right, we need a new quarterback? Please don't start the Gardner Minshew. He's not the answer. He is not. But are we already kind of giving up on Hurts and saying we need a new quarterback next year? If we're going to go in that route, I want a veteran quarterback. I don't want outside of Deshaun Watson, unless everything gets cleared by the offseason from his legal stuff. Still, it's kind of like a moral thing, too. It's like, do I really want that guy? Well, outside of him, like, I don't know if there's any veterans out there that you could trade for, but I would want a veteran quarterback. Otherwise, we're going to keep going down this path of growing pains because we can draft a rookie. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. The guy, granted, it is Jacksonville. The team is also bad, but he has his struggles and he has to learn how to play in the NFL as well. So you just never know what you're going to get. And when you draft a young guy, we could end up this cycle again, and then we have old players. We're going to have to recycle those dudes and really draft the next coming up players, maybe someone more official than like a Milton Williams at defensive tackle. But we're going to need to replace Fletcher Cox. We're going to need to replace Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelsey, Darius Slay eventually. Like, we have a bunch of Rodney McLeod. We have a bunch of holes that we need to fill. And unfortunately, our draft hasn't been the best, but we have, I think, 11 picks next year. And if things keep going the way they're going for the Colts, we're going to have 3 first-round picks. I'm going to say we're going to have to go defense for the majority. We're going to have to pull a Dallas. I hate to say we need to use them as an example, but they went ahead and drafted a lot of young defensive players, and that's something we're going to have to do next year. But yeah, I just needed to get this off my chest. I needed to, vent a little bit. We lost to the Raiders. I was talking to Scott last week, Scott Gobranson. If you haven't seen the interview, go check it out. But, I mean, I guess at this point, you don't really need to. We lost to them, but I was saying it was a must-win. I felt like we needed that win just to kind of get back on track, and we got to embarrass a little bit. But, yeah, guys, leave me in the comments. What are you guys looking forward to? Are you guys looking forward to seeing Kenneth Gainwell out there now that Miles Sanders is hurt? Are you looking forward to see maybe is Jonathan Gannon going to get a little bit more ballsier in a sense? Is he going to blitz more, call more man coverage instead of just zone all the time? Are we really going to have Fletcher Cox out here spying a running back when he's the guy that's supposed to be going after the quarterback? Let me know in the comments. It's going to be a whirlwind of the season. Hopefully we can get through it together. But like I said in the beginning, make sure to go check out that merch that Joe has created, the new logo for Philly the podcast. Make sure you guys go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We do have a game coming up this week, so it is against the Lions. And oh my God, I have a feeling, and I hate to be negative, but I've seen Jared Goff play well in a sense that his team could potentially have won a game or two so far this season. So be prepared for Jared Goff to look kind of decent against our defense if we don't bring the pressure, if we don't bring the heat or anything. Otherwise, we're going to end up seeing another Derek Carr situation. But we'll talk about that later this week. It is only Wednesday. We got a couple more days before we have to get ready for that debacle. Hopefully it's a dub in our column. But till next time, fly, Eagles, fly. Peace.
Eagles fly everywhere. This is for you.
Fly, Eagles, fly. On the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.